Okay, so in this video I'm going to try to show you around Lightroom. So if you know how to use Lightroom, you can be able to we also know how to use capture camera raw. Camera raw and Lightroom are basically the same software, just like Lightroom in Photoshop, right? So basically to open images in Lightroom is very easy. What you have to do is after you open your Lightroom, you come to library. This is the way I do it, and this is the easiest way to do it. So once you open your library like this, you're going to come down to your folder, then look for where the picture you're going to use is. Let's use this. No. Okay, so I'm going to select it because I want to open all this image, and you just click and drag to this place. Once you drag it, a dialog box is going to open up. So here's the dialog box. So because I've imported this image before, it's not going to allow me import them again. So once you select the image, then all you have to do come here and click import. Anyways, so that is that for that. Then after you imported, you can come to this place to develop, right? So one more thing, if you come here, if you look here at the side where it said metadata, you can actually see, in case like these pictures are not, I didn't take the pictures, yeah, they were taken by Encourage Photography. So you can come here and see the kind of camera that was used. This was a Nikon Z5 Z5 plus Nikon Z85mm lens, right? So you can see the camera and the lens that was used. Anyway, so let's move forward. So let me say, as you can see, this image was shot pretty much on a low, like it's kind of low key, like it was shot dark, because I feel the direction they were going for is for a dark mode image, right? So the way I make it full screen is just to press F on my keyboard. That's how you come full screen. So yeah, I believe they wanted a moody, dark moody image. So anyway, so what we're going to do to just to bring out this image, one thing that I will do that is like my cheat code. One of my style is natural. Like I like images to look natural, although the skin should be soft, but at least I don't go crazy with the color grading. So what I do most times is come to this profile, color profile, come here, come to browse. I already have my color profile, like there are lots that I just converted to profile. So most times I just go through them and just pick the one that works. Like this image is 44 works, so I'll close it. As you can see, if I reduce, let me do before, if I reduce it before this color profile, this is how it looks now. These color profiles are directly for this, targeting the skin tones, right? Anyway, so that's that. So now let's come down. This place here is the white balance of a camera. If you shoot raw, one of the benefits of shooting raw is that at the end of the day you can change your white balance and you can adjust your exposure. So yeah, you can change your white balance, you can make it warm, like as you can see the image becoming warm, or you can use the preset like just like that in your camera. This auto white balance, this daylight, this cloudy, most times flash, right? Because it was flash, I mean the best white balance for this would be flash anyways, but let's just leave it the way it was shot. So this assured means that the white balance that the camera saw or the camera set while you were shooting it, that's how we're going to leave it. So let's just leave it like that. So one quick way you can also do to just quickly play with the picture is just click on this auto here. Click on auto and see what Lightroom or camera raw decide what is what is the best settings for it. As you can see, because the image is dark, it just brightened up the image and all. But you see, this is not the style we are going for. I'm going for a dark mode image. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click the highlight, double click the shadow, and just like bring them to, maybe I'll take this exposure and just bring it down a bunch. Let's see at +1, right? +1 is fine. Then you can come down. So most times what people do is they work on the HDR, like high dynamic range, the highlight, the shadow, and the white from this part. So what I do most times is I usually come down to the curve, right, to this tone curve, and adjust it here first before I go back and adjust it on with that one, so that this is more targeted at the right space, right? So this is highlights. There's really no much highlight. If you see the highlight, check this area, this cloth, that is where the highlight is moving, right? The bangle, so there's nothing much to do there, so we're going to leave it at 0. The lights, we're going to bring it, so this light is affecting our skin, as you can see, right? So this the reason I use this more than the other one. Let's come to this other one and see. If you increase the highlights, right, this increase both the light and the highlight that we're seeing in the other one. So this highlight here, this highlight here that you're seeing here, in this tone curve, it has been divided, right? That highlight now is not divided between this highlight and light. I don't know if you understand. So in this fixed HDR settings, this basic tab, this highlight, that highlight and light were combined to this, right? So with this tone curve, we can actually separate it. That's why I like it. So now I can push out the light which targets the skin, right? Then maybe if I want to bring it dark, I mean it's a dark mode image, so I kind of drop the dark a bit, out of the shadow, drop it down a bit, and then there we have it, right? So this is where we are now. I mean, this is a color grade on its own. I don't even need to do anything from it from here. Just take it straight to Photoshop. But then let's just continue. So we have this HSL tab, this color tab. This tab, the colors has been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So whatever image you have, Lightroom will divide it into 8 colors, right? There's red, there's orange, there's yellow, there's green, there's cyan, there's blue, there's purple, and then magenta. Anyway, so red affect mostly the skin. Orange and red is where the skin tone fall into. So visibly there's red in this image, right? So if we take it down, brighten it up, can reduce the brightness. This luminance is brightness of the color. How bright is the color? So you can take it up and the color becomes bright. If you want the bright red, you can take it down. If you want it dark red, I think I like the bright red. Let's leave it like this. You can increase the saturation. If you want saturation, increase it. I think I like this. Then hue is to move it. How red is the red? Is it like a orange red or a magenta red? Most times. So let's do. You take it like this. You see, it becomes orange. Now it affects the skin tone because the skin tone has red also. If you take it down to magenta, it affects the skin, right? I mean, this is fine also, but let's just leave it at the middle. I mean, what I'll do, I like the red in the magenta part. Let's just push it in the magenta. Yeah, it's good. Then orange, the same thing. You can brighten it and darken it. Let's just brighten it up a bit, increase the saturation a bit, and push it a bit to the red. Right. So the reason why I'm pushing it to the red is because I push the red to the magenta. I push the red to the magenta, then I push the orange to the red. Just kind of balances out. Then we have yellow here. They can reduce the saturation of the yellow. Now the yellow affects the coat, whatever she's wearing. So you can increase it to increase the effect or darken it, or yeah, you get the point, you get the idea. Are there grains in the image? Not so much grain. Cyan. not so much cyan. So the rest colors are not really present there. So as you can see, this is where we are now, right? So this color grading is just to add or cancel out colors, right? So basic color theory, right? Opposite colors. If there's these shadows is for the dark part. If there's color cast, what I mean by color cast is there's a color in the shadow area that you really don't like, you can call me and take it away. Let's say for example there's red in this shadow area and you don't like the reds there. So what if you look at this is red, what is the opposite of red? Is cyan. So you can take it down to cyan to add cyan. The more you add cyan, the less the red it becomes, right? So you can come to blue as you can see, right? So as you can see, this is how it is. The image was red just now, but when we added cyan to the blue or bluish cyan to the image, it cancels out the color, right? If there was magenta on the image overall and don't want it, I push it to green. Then this is also a different kind of grade. It has this greenish hue. So you can take it. If I want brown, right? If I want the image to be brown, what I'll do, I'll come to this red here. I just add a little bit of it. Right, the image is red. Brown is not a color in when it comes to electronics. Brown is actually dark red. So, anyways, so I can come to the highlight also, but I want brown. I'll just push it down, like push the red, then it becomes brown like this. Right, as you can see, just because I added red to the highlight and red to the shadows. Mid-tone is where the skin tone really is, so you probably will not be pushing anything except there's a color in the skin tone that you don't like that you can push. Let's say for example I'm seeing greens here, right? Yellow and greens maybe I don't like, I can just add like magenta to the mid-tone just to cancel it out, right? You get the point. So you can either use this color grading, capture one call is color balance. I think I prefer that term, color balance, more than color grading, because it helps you balance out color. So the two, you can either use it to color grade, that means add colors, or cancel out colors, depending on how you want it. Right, so let's leave it like this. Okay, so now how do you see colors in your images? How do you see colors in your images, right? You see colors in your image by how much time you spent, how much time you have spent color grading or using the software. So I've spent a lot of time using the software, so I know when I see a color, I know what that color is, I know how to fix it because I've used it a lot of time. So it's one thing to watch a video and another thing to be practicing it every day. Like there's a day should not pass where you are not practicing, right? Move the slider, you will not die, your computer will not spoil, right? The computer will not spoil, just move the slider and see what it does. So anyways, okay, so these details is for sharpening, which you really will not want to do, because if you sharpen your image and there's noise in that image, the image become more noisy, right? So Lightroom has already imputed like a default sharpening, right? If you want to sharpen more, you can increase the amount and it becomes like sharp. I mean, it's not something I would advise you to do anyways, except you really need to do it. Yeah, I used to do it in Photoshop. Anyway, so less correction, because I clicked on auto, it has already fixed all this. Anyway, so what less correction does is, if you're using a wide angle lens, most times there's actually distortion on the edge. The image are kind of bent in the edge. When you click on this enable, kind of fix it, as you can see, you just straighten the image out and fixes those lens, whatever happens. Most times if you're using a third party lens, something like a Yogno lens and the rest, most times when you click this enable, it will not see it. So what you do, click on name, then look for the name of the lens you are using and just click on it, and everything will be fine. So so that's that. Nothing serious here. This transformation don't really do anything with it. So effect, what happens to effect is you can highlight highlight to priority, you can reduce it. It's just like vignette, right? So I mean there's nothing you can really do, it's just vignetting, right? Basic vignetting. What vignetting is, as you can see, that circle can put black. Goings, if you want to add goings to your image, maybe the image is too sharp, you can actually add goings. Most times if you're going to post on Instagram, it's advisable that you add a little bit of goings, because if you add goings to the image, um Instagram will not process it a lot, it will not compress it too much because it feels that the image already has noise. Yeah, you get my point. Anyways, um so on to the next one, which is calibration. Now this is the reason why I'm using Lightroom over Capture One. I like Capture One. I prefer Capture One because Capture One has layer system, but this is one powerful tool that I like. So what this does is it kind of um there's um in not just photography, in electronic device display, their colors are always red, green and blue. As you can see, it's red primary, green primary and blue primary. So it is a mixture of these colors that make whatever colors you see. So now what this does is telling Lightroom that okay, the red that you're going to mix, the primary red you're going to mix with every other color, I want it to be more saturated. Let it be very red. If I increase it, as you can see, if I increase it, the skin tone becomes red, it pops out. Or I can say, okay, make the red, let it be orangey red. Let it not be like pure red, but let it have like orange feel. Or let it have like a magenta feel, magenta red, right? As you can see. Okay, I'll tell you a trick, but let's just go on. Or the green, make the green yellowish green, or like kind of bluish green, I guess. These are saturated, I want the green to it. These are desaturated, I want the green to it. So whatever you do here, what is affecting the primary color. So whatever affect the primary color will affect the secondary colors. Do you understand? So primary colors is RGB. If you change anything in the primary color, the secondary colors are going to change too. So that is what this does. So if you take this like this and take this like this, it gets you can get weird effects or nice effects. So this is where most photographers, this is where they get their style from. So you look at this person pictures and it look this way, you look the other person picture, it looks this way. Why they are all using the same camera? This is the secret, right? So you play with this to get your own style, so your image look a certain way. As you can see, playing with this blue primary is actually the way you get like a brown feel, right? This brown feel. As you can see, this is what we get, a kind of brownish red, right? So one thing I was going to tell you is that magenta works really well with black skin, right? If you have black skin, chocolate skin, adding magenta to it, and we are going to leave this like this. Adding magenta to it kind of complements it, right? Let's look at this now. So this shadow, you're going to add magenta to it. As you can see, the skin just kind of pops out, right? So let's take this red to a bit magenta, just little light. Let's make it -7 or -5. Yeah, this is good. So as you can see now, this is where we are, the color grading. I think this the colors are too much. Anyways, I'll just reduce the saturation. Okay, so I can come here, the green, I just push the green forward or push it backward, depending on what I want or what I like. Right, so I think this is fine. This is the last tab, and I want to come here and just reduce the saturation a bit, take it to like -2 or -4. Yeah, so here you have it, brownish brown feel, right? So let me do before and after. So this is before and the after, right? Before and the after. As you can see, the skin tone here has like yellowish something, kind of yellowish feel, or yeah, yellowish feel, but here it has this reddish brownish feel, right? So you can come here, let's go to this place and just reduce the red, right? Yeah. So that is that for the color grading aspect.